Disclaimer. Alright, before we dive in, just a quick heads up. I'm not a lawyer, and this video isn't legal advice. This is just general information meant to get you thinking. Laws vary depending on where you are in your specific situation, so if you're dealing with an immigration or legal issue, talk to an attorney who can give you the right guidance. Watching this video does not create an attorney-client relationship, so don't rely on this alone. Now, let's get into it. Why can ICE officers hide their identities? Let's talk about it. Ever wonder why ICE officers can roll up in public and not show their IDs? Yeah, it's a thing, and it's a big deal. It raises some serious red flags about accountability and transparency, especially for the communities they target. That's right. Your communities. My communities. Our communities. Why it's a problem? Why? Why care? Imagine getting stopped by someone claiming to be law enforcement. They refuse to identify themselves. Like, why are you handcuffing me? Are you my ex? Who are you? Sounds sketchy, right? Well, that's the reality for a lot of people dealing with ICE. It's a fact that some of these people are innocent. No cap. Not violent. Not sexual offenders. Old cases that are not even relevant to today. If officers don't have to show who they are, how can anyone file complaints or take legal action when things go wrong? This gives bad vibes. This lack of transparency makes it harder for communities to trust law enforcement. It creates fear, makes people less likely to report crimes, and can even put innocent lives at risk. And if someone is detained or deported, they often don't even know who was responsible. We gotta hear the other side of the argument, right? Some people argue that ICE officers need to stay anonymous for their own safety, because they deal with dangerous individuals or could face retaliation. Others say it prevents them from being unfairly targeted with lawsuits. On an individual level, sure, officer safety is important. But at what cost? Deadass. When law enforcement can act without accountability, things can spiral out of control fast. A duck's a duck's a duck. What are we working with here? ICE isn't some rogue agency, they still have rules they have to follow. Imagine if they did not have to follow any rules. Imagine if they did follow the rules. For example, they cannot enter private property without consent. You need consent by the person who owns the property. Or a judicial warrant. Not just one from their own agency. Because it's a thing that our government has 3 branches. ICE is under the executive branch. There's Congress. Then there's the judiciary. You need a warrant signed by a judge with a real seal on that paper. From the 3rd judiciary branch. Check it. They cannot arrest you just for recording them. Unless you're physically interfering. So don't hit them, stand in their way. Keep your distance. And let the camera do the work. Put it out so they see that you're recording, don't try to be a spy or whatever. Also, they cannot force people to answer questions. You gotta remember your right to remain silent. If that's all you remember. But let's be real. Just because there are rules doesn't mean they always follow them. That's why knowing this stuff is crucial. If you are passing by and want to get involved, it is not for the weak. But know this at least. They see you seeing them, and maybe that changes things. Why this matters? This isn't just about policy. It's about real lives. Take Claudia Gomez, a woman shot by an ICE officer in May 2018. The officer's identity was never released, and the case sparked nationwide outrage. When officers can act in secrecy, accountability becomes nearly impossible. This also connects to bigger issues like racial profiling and the criminalization of immigration. The more power ICE has to operate in the shadows, the easier it is to target already marginalized communities. Your friends, family members sometimes, the lady that takes care of your grandma. At the end of the day, this all comes down to balancing security versus transparency. If we don't push for more oversight, we're basically allowing law enforcement to act without consequences. What do you think? Should ICE officers be allowed to stay anonymous, or is it time for more transparency? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want to learn more about immigration and law enforcement, check out nilc.org.